believe I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And would everyone remain standing, please? I would like to have a moment of silence for our departed trustee. Thank you, everybody. Roll call, Mrs. Dawson.
Ford.
Here.
Trustee Connor.
Here.
Trustee Short.
Here.
Trustee Poirier.
Here.
Superintendent Sullivan.
Here.
Deputy Treasurer Bowman. Here.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. I believe before all of the board members, we have our minutes of our previous meeting. And would there be any corrections or additions? And if not, could I have a motion and second to these minutes?
So moved.
Motion, trustee Connor. Second, trustee Short. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. At this time, I would open the floor to anyone who would like to speak at this board meeting.
Happy to. Pretty much same issues and the same topics and the same everything, but we have 2 sales tax exemption weeks for clothing and footwear coming up. One is August 26th to September 1st, just the week before school. And the other one is January 26th to February 1st, 2004. And speaking of sales tax, our sales tax remains about the same. We were a little down in June, but no one is too concerned about it because the receipts for June should be good. Usually they are. And so we're holding our own, although it's on the low side. So. And I believe you have a meeting here tomorrow on the all hazards analysis from 9 to 1 p.m. Oh, the village and the town are combined?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You'll be there for answer questions and stuff, good?
I also got in touch with Chief Barton,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, good. Yeah,
he either will be there or have a representative.
oh, that's good. This is a grant the county received and CMO wants to look at hazards in all the communities, whatever. We're starting to look at the county budget. At the end of this month, the chamber is coming and the Clinton Community College is coming to us with their budgets. It should be a fun year, as you know.
Oh, it has already been a fun year.
Buildings, our plans are on target for the jail. We just hired a construction manager last month. We're looking maybe around $22–23 million expansion. And we also have our airport terminal. We're about to approve the final plans. The style is our military history style. Originally, they proposed an Adirondack style, but we thought it looked too much like a runway stop, so we decided we didn't like that. County auction went well. We had about over $200,000 of taxes owed, and we reaped way over $400,000. So our net is $200,000. We have a very good auction service for our auctions, so that was very good, except for the one in Champlain. Any questions for me? Any issues?
Not that I have at this time. I've been away from it a little bit. Well, does anybody else have a question?
I've got one, but I don't think it would pertain to legislation, but I just got a letter today in regards to unemployment.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
Isn't that incredible? I got it too.
you know, everybody's happy because no politician raised taxes, so they're gonna put this as a, what word did they use, as a, son of a, whatever it was.
Surcharge.
Surcharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna surcharge unemployment?
Yeah,
Yeah,
going back to the last complete payroll, which is September through October, September 2001 to October 2002. Because
does that department any bearing on you?
I have payroll too.
Well, no,
No,
but I
not on
meant-
county, not on
Okay, all
county.
right, I
yeah.
didn't think it did, but.
No, yeah, oh, I knew when they overrode the governor that they charged you.
Legislation passed,
Yeah.
right?
They have this overcharge, a surcharge, they added extra fees, you know, your fees for your automobile insurance went from $1 to $5 a piece.
Yeah.
Voting fees are up. So they help the schools, which is fine, but at the same time,
They're borrowing money.
I don't know what they're gonna do next year for now for it.
From what I understand, they borrow money every year because
Yeah.
they can't manage their money. And then the interest on it, they normally pay back with money's coming in, and what they're saying is, geez, we just don't have it,
They don't
so
have it.
we're gonna put a surcharge on the unemployment rate again.
And so then they've raised income tax, so big deal, they overrode the governor.
But unemployment now, doesn't yourself as an employer
No.
have a contribution, and so does,
All employers,
Just employer.
Employers only. Employees doesn't cost them anything.
no, it's employers.
That's a benefit that an employer provides mandated by the state. And so be it. We all go by the rules.
You'll have it too as a village.
The village will, that'll apply to the
Probably,
village
yeah.
as well.
Sure.
That's
You're gonna
right.
have to pay that extra
Right.
0.06%.
0.06%, yep, yep. Which, it all adds up. But when you're in
Absolutely.
business, it all adds up, I'll tell you, you know. it's-
Absolutely.
They squeeze it wherever they can get it.
Yeah, but we're so taxed in the state.
You know, then
I
they just
agree with
raise
you
the
more.
sales tax a 1/4%, which got
That's
legal
right.
notice 2 days after
Yeah.
the date of you're
Right.
supposed to start collecting it, you know, so now you're 2 days in the rears of tax you never collected.
So
You know,
they've gone to all these surcharges, you know, sure they look good, but look what happened.
Well, they
I
can
don't-
still stand back in campaigns and say, no, we didn't raise any taxes. No, they just put surcharges on the tax. You know, I mean, it's the same thing.
It's
Yeah.
Doing
terrible.
it by a proxy. It's,
Yeah,
I didn't think, I just heard, I'd
yeah.
throw that
No,
out there,
no.
but
Okay.
thank you, Selena.
thank you very much, Celine.
I don't know that I'm really here to address the board, or is this your discussion of ours should come up later?
No,
Go ahead and address it and get it.
Whatever,
Do it now.
whatever, yes.
Some of you know me, Eric Day from Architectural Engineering Design Associates. Actually, I guess I probably know a lot. Having been here a few times. I'm here tonight representing UPS and their request, which I believe you have in your documentation tonight, for connection to the village sewer under an outside user agreement for a portion of the building at number 1 Transporter
And I
Drive.
believe that's number 6 in correspondence this evening. No, you address the board, you're here. We're here for you.
What UPS, just to give you a little background, obviously the current owner of the building over at Transporter Drive, that property is partially in the town, partially in the village. The village serves the building with, the entire building with water, and currently serves the portion of the building that's within the village with sewer. The portion of the building that's within the town is currently connected to a septic system, you know, leach field, which like you have at your house if you don't have municipal sewer. And they're having problems with that system. It's old, it needs to be replaced. And the option that they chose to go for, if assuming you folks would allow an outside user connection, is to connect to the municipal sewer. And we put together a plan which reviewed with Bob in the past few weeks, actually, months.
Yeah.
I guess we're here, I'm here for UPS, to see if you have any
Right.
questions and
You're
how you react to the letter.
you're here representing UPS Transporter?
That's correct.
Well, I think we've all had brief discussions on this, and I can see the dilemma of why to try and upgrade a septic system, which in all actuality, when you have a municipality with the store capability so close, I believe that we have talked about it, and my belief is, I don't see a problem with that happening. Okay? Now, does Mr. Sullivan have anything else?
You'd be talking about a single user going into a village line.
Right.
You'd have to have a contract.
Okay, see, that's the thing, we'd have to have a contract.
Understood.
Because what happens is, when you end up having more than one user of line, then it ends up being a district. And I believe that's where we are, I think.
Right, I was gonna touch on that, just about what Bob was saying. We've got a couple other issues in the works now that we're trying to comply with. It's a federal law, is it, Bob?
It's state or federal, yeah.
State or
He
federal law.
knows them as well as I do,
And
but he does.
it's, the ramifications of it are very complex, and it's beyond me to completely understand it, and probably a lot of people around, but from my understanding of it, we have these issues. So what we want to do, and I don't think we'll have a problem with this, it's not my decision, we'll all decide that.
Understood.
But I think, in my opinion, we need to have some documentation, some type of a contract, to make it legal. The minute someone else hooks onto this line, we're not complying with the law.
Absolutely.
We're in non-compliance. So what we don't want to do is have that problem. Since it's one building, half in the village, half in the town, I don't think there's going to be a problem at all. As long as the contract is clearly understood.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
We or UPS, certainly understand that there has to be some form of an agreement or a contract
Sure.
between UPS and the village
Right.
for that service. And, if you have something that you folks use, I don't know if you have a contract or an agreement or.
Yes, there is.
I have some that
Sure.
we could propose that you folks could review.
I'm not by any means insinuating you can't do that.
No.
I just.
No, but we need to make sure
Right.
everything is in order,
From
right?
from what I understand, there's two legal ways of doing this. Either under a very good contract.
Correct.
That eliminates any other issues, or annexation, making it the complete thing part of the village.
That's right. Then
Now, whatever
Creation
suits your
of the district.
fancy, we're more than happy to entertain. That's all in the property owner.
Right.
We're not looking either way. It makes no difference. We have capability of handling that building,
Oh,
Bob.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Our treatment plant will handle, we have enough water,
Sure.
on and on.
Right.
So,
The,
whatever way,
The chances of anybody connecting to the line that we put in are not, because the interstate is
on that side.
immediately adjacent, and
Sure.
the property north of us is in the village, so.
Well, that
we're in a
would
corner.
be, that would be, as far as I was concerned, one of the stipulations in the contract,
Sure.
that you would be the only
Yeah,
user of
the
that
sole,
line.
the sole user of that line would be that property.
Would be that
Wouldn't-
property
wouldn't
itself.
extend
And like I
anywhere
said,
else.
giving you an option, you're not stuck with just one roof.
Yep.
Annexation would open the door to other opportunities, so that would end it there, So you're not stuck with just one avenue. You can, I guess, is that correct? Everybody
I
can agree
believe
with
so,
that?
yes, yeah.
You can make that decision.
But,
Either way, we can handle, I'm sure.
but I'm thinking probably the general consensus of the board is that if they want to hook to our existing main, the board will give its approval.
I'd just be curious to see where the lines would be going, that's all. I'm not
Well,
that,
there's
not
an
that I'm opposed.
he has the,
And I'm not sure exactly where the line,
there's a manhole out behind the, right on the fence line.
right in the fence line.
Yes.
There was a manhole, a village manhole that was installed.
I got a general idea, but I just want to make sure.
Okay. The highlighted in blue is the UPS facility.
Right.
Highlighted in pink, this manhole. This is the town village line here.
Right,
Highlighted in pink is a manhole in an existing sewer line,
right.
this is an existing sewer line that serves this portion of the warehouse.
Right.
It's in the village.
So the orange line would indicate your service line?
The orange
Is that
line,
correct?
the orange line is the new line that we're proposing to put in.
Proposing to put in, okay. And the existing line is where?
This is the big one.
Here's the big
Yeah,
one.
Going to this end of the building?
two manholes.
Yep.
What's the distance from manhole to manhole on that straight run?
Um,
Just approximately.
300 feet, 330 feet.
You can handle that, right?
Mhm.
But
Not
they're gonna
not
put
that
it
it's
in.
our
They're
responsibility.
gonna put it in.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
oh yeah, we're
Exactly.
going to install the entire
It's not,
project.
it's not too long of a distance.
That's what I wanted to find out. You get over 600 and
Well, 300, 3 to 400, you're there.
you're there. Oh, that'll work.
You hate to see them.
Oh yeah, no, we wouldn't, we don't push.
Just for
forward. If we-
inspections
If we'd
and-
have to, we'd add another manhole, it's not,
Not a big deal.
but,
You know, this is the thing that we're looking down the road.
I have had problems in that area before from that building of dumping inappropriate materials down
from that building?
yes.
And a
Under-
manhole,
under
But
the
the
current-
former
I was
owner,
gonna say, under the current ownership?
no, former owner,
The
and he was
line-
quite distressed.
The line that exists is what size?
8.
8, and so you're proposing a 6-inch line?
We're proposing a 6, and,
That would be a lateral.
it's a lateral, that's not a, it's not a.
That's not a main, that's
Yeah.
a lateral.
The, from your manhole this way is an 8-inch main, it goes off and down,
Right.
what's the name of the street?
Meadow lane.
Meadow Lane.
Right.
That's 8 inch. This, I believe, is also 6,
Right.
but it is also a lateral that serves that building. We looked at 8-inch,
the distance from that point backwards, what kind of a distance are we talking, or in the village?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
your
you're in the
system.
village.
This
we
is in
own-
the village here.
How, I guess right now the pink line indicates what's existing.
You own
That's
to that,
existing.
you own to that, to the
We
manhole
own-
along
we
the
own
fence
this.
line.
We own
Right.
this, or this is a village here. This
You
is
That manhole right there.
That
Right
manhole,
there.
you own from there,
Eric,
the
did you
village.
say
So
that
what's that?
that was a 6-inch line in that manhole or an
your side's an 8, I think the connection to the building is a 6.
8? Okay. Yeah, I was gonna
So
say.
you're gonna put a
I just
6-inch
thought I heard
lateral
something.
from your other building
From the other,
to our.
from the other building to your manhole.
Right.
And you're gonna have 2 lines running off of this other manhole.
There are two separate bathrooms that are served by the existing septic tank, which would connect to that one new manhole and run into yours.
Is there any existing well there? They're using village water now.
They're using village water and have them for
On
quite some
both
time.
ends of the building.
Yeah,
I
both
think
sides.
almost since time immemorial,
Right.
minor.
Yeah,
My,
I'm not-
my
I'm not
only
familiar with
concern
the-
is if you've done the study and you don't feel that there needs to be another manhole in there, I
It's
don't-
theirs anyway.
It's theirs.
it's theirs to contend with.
Yeah,
It's
this-
nice to have
this-
that
this-
manhole for inspection.
The line in manholes that would be installed would be installed and paid for by UPS and would be owned and maintained by UPS. No request of the village for maintenance and upkeep of this at all. It all belongs to them as a lateral.
So,
So you can get us a
And there's
letter.
no, you know,
Commitment
it looks
or-
like there's no problem with your grades as far as.
No, we're plenty of cover.
Contract.
Oh, yeah.
so the opinion of the board, I believe, is the contract is drawing up stating that the village will not be responsible for maintaining this line. And it will only be the lateral for that building, no other user. Bob, we have a contract for that?
I believe so, Mrs. Lawson, when we have
The UPS facility would be the only user. They may
Right.
expand.
Right.
If, you know, and I don't know of any future plans, but
But they would
someday if
be
they make the warehouse bigger, they may use the line for that.
right, but they would be
Still,
the
they would
only
still be the
user.
only user.
Right.
Yeah.
So would it be the recommendation of the board that the board grant this request from UPS? Do I need to do a roll call vote on this? So the recommendation of the board is yes, you will do it. Mr. Sullivan and Mrs. Dawson will get a contract out.
We have pre-stated contracts?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, the village board, you have our blessing.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Very nice meeting you.
Yes, good to see you again, as always.
You have a nice evening.
You too. would you like a copy, would you like this to
Yes, I will.
fold up and keep in the record?
Yes, I will.
All colored and ready to go?
Oh, yes, we need that.
Full-blown color.
Not to press my luck, but how soon or when would you think an agreement might be in place so they could start work? I mean, it's not imminent, it has to happen tomorrow, but that'll be the next
Do
question.
you have contractors waiting to start? Is that what the?
Not waiting, but
Do they have sanitary
we
issues
could,
right now?
we could start in 2 weeks probably.
We could have that by Friday.
And I'm not pushing, if you
Yeah.
tell me a month, it's a month, but
No,
just
no.
so I can
I
get the
think we
plan.
could have that contract drawn up in
A couple days.
Couple
a
days.
couple of days or so.
Take
You send it on to Jim
That's,
to review?
that's,
It's one he has already reviewed.
He's already reviewed. So I would expect by the end of the week, you should be getting the
that's,
authorization.
that's more than,
Okay.
We more than want to work with you.
well,
Way
they
more.
they will probably take twice as long to review it on their part, because I'm sure they'll have to,
Sure.
you know how
Pick things apart.
corporate,
They are tough.
big corporate things can be, but that'll be the next question is how, when do we make that happen? So I'll convey that to them and we'll work through it.
Yeah.
Very good.
You have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Oh,
Get your
yeah,
keys
that's
and,
Well, he would have
You wouldn't
noticed
get
that.
very
when he
I wouldn't
got
get very
it.
far without
No.
that. Thank you again.
You gotta,
Have a nice evening. See, there's nobody else to address the public this evening. I've been out of the loop a little bit, and I apologize for that. And at this time, I would like to thank my deputy mayor, trustee Connor, for running my June meeting. Thank you very much. Did a fantastic job. There are issues that I will be working with as we go through correspondence, because we have quite a bit of correspondence, and I want to get up to snuff on what is actually happening. But apparently we have a number of requisitions that was put before us this evening.
technically speaking, those, a lot of these probably could have been eliminated, but I was asked to give you a more accurate number of what I, you know,
the 8-inch SDR, what project is that for?
that's for South Street.
Oh, right.
Jumped,
What's that?
the price of it has jumped.
I see that.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
What's a repair kit? For who and where to go?
Okay, that repair kit goes to an LMI pulsating metering pump, goes down the wastewater plant, uses it for sodium illuminates.
That's like the chlorine injection pumps?
It's very similar to them.
Use a surgical tube instead of the
Well, no, this isn't, no, this is not, no, this is a pump, this is a diaphragm pump.
diaphragm pump.
I haven't had the chance, and I really think the thing we should do is eventually go all to the peristaltic pumps, but at this point, they're 400 and some odd dollars a piece, and I'm trying not to.
Now, these repair kits, is this something that you need right away, or is this something you're gonna have on hand?
It's, we have none left,
Okay.
so if one goes
It's on
down.
hand, it's basically for on-hand purposes, not.
Right, right.
6-inch water main, is that the South Street deal? No?
That's East Street. We have, on East Street, we have an old 6-inch cast iron pipe that is spalling from the outside. There's aggressive soils there, there's acetic soils, and I've had 3 breaks in the past 5 years. And the last time we went down and cleaned it off, you could see this, it looks just like somebody cut the main.
I think that,
Why is there a 6-inch on East Street?
Well, it's 4.
Oh,
It's
you-
4, but I
You wanna bring that to a 6.
wanna bring it to a
And
6.
how many feet is this that you're purchasing?
200.
That's gonna take us from where to where? Is
It-
that from,
It's
Al?
gonna take you from it's gonna take you from the fire hydrant in front of
Larry's old place
Larry's old trailer to the village line.
to Elm Street.
No, to
The
the
other way.
village line, the other
Towards
way.
your
The other way.
The other way,
Village
right.
line.
Yeah, to the
meaning
line, Route 11.
Village,
Yeah.
town.
And what are you gonna do with the end of that?
It'll be capped,
Just cap?
and there'll be a concrete plug put against the end of it. I do wanna I bought a companion fitting for the end of it that will allow us to drain off the very end. Put a
Right,
fitting on, so we do drain.
right,
That's
because,
that's what you were driving at?
Yeah.
Okay.
because that dead
Okay,
line
yeah.
is a bad line.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
no, that's,
What is that servicing from? I mean,
there are several, there's 3.
You've got Larry's across the road.
Right,
used to be
they're on the
two.
new line.
That's new line.
There are.
So the only thing after that is the mobile home and the older lady
Right,
in the back of her and one more house on the across street.
right,
There's 3 houses.
right.
And by upgrading to I guess what I'm getting at is it necessary to upgrade to a 6-inch? If there's 4 there now, a 4-inch feeding 3 3/4-inch lines. You see what I'm getting
Yes.
at? Or is there a reason for
Well,
future
if you
expansion?
if you follow the guidelines of recommended standards for water,
At pressure,
distribution.
volume? Okay,
then you're supposed to use a 6.
Right.
okay.
Nothing smaller than a 6. You won't find a 4.
So the end of this line will be capped off with a valve that
There'll be
extrudes
a-
up through the ground?
Right, there'll be a valve there, and it'll be it'll be buried in concrete at the very end of it. You
Oh.
wrap it with plastic and stuff.
But the valve is
It's a
accessible?
thrust
Is
block.
what I'm getting at?
Yes,
It is, to above grade.
yeah, it'll stick above.
That way it'll be able to.
There'll be a thrust
drain
block
that
on the
in
end
line.
of the
So
stuff.
flush it.
Yeah.
Any
something
pressure.
Well,
like
it won't be exposed.
No,
The valve's not exposed.
the end of the pipe will be exposed. Or
The water main?
the end of the little tube, the piping that comes
That,
up,
that flushes it.
just to flush it.
That's what I'm
Just
talking
flush
about.
it.
Yeah,
You're running a 6-inch main, you're capping it off underground, running a 3/4-inch pipe up?
yeah.
Right.
Is that secure?
It'll be, yeah, it'll be secure, because you will have to turn it on and off below the ground,
Yeah,
just like a curb stop.
It's a frost-proof valve?
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
All right, now makes sense.
So-
And we're
You're
getting
trying to
such
get-
little bits of information.
Yeah, I'm
That's what
sorry,
we got a
I'm
piece of
not
copper
making
sticking
it
out of the
clear.
ground here, you know,
Yeah,
wait a
no.
minute. Okay, so it's an actual curb stop, frost-proof,
Yeah.
that mounts to the end of the 6-inch main?
Right.
Perfect. Good.
Okay, any other questions on these requisitions? These requisitions total $4,012.09. Do I get a motion to approve these requisitions in a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Connor, second trustee Short. All in favor? Aye. Carried. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, I heard it. I was listening.
Oh, you can do it.
What's that? On?
Okay, at this time, like I say, I'm going to, that will be the end of my report for this evening. I'd like to move on to the report to the trustees. Trustee Connor?
Really have nothing right now for my report, but in correspondence, I'm sure there's going to be some discussion on some issues that will be coming up. One thing I think that we may want to request a executive session to discuss personnel.
Oh, thank you very much. I forgot that. I'm going to do that. Thank you. Anything else, Trustee Connor?
That's it for now.
Trustee Short?
There's only one thing I'd like to bring up is, since our school has closed, the issue on, the speed zone, I think,
Is it closed?
huh? The school's gonna be closed, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a done deal. We should take the, I think,
That was made by law, so you have to undo the law.
right, take the school zone signs, so we have to bring it to the board that you take the school board, the school zone signs down, and make it back into a 30-mile-an-hour zone instead of 20.
Do we really want 30 miles an hour there?
Why not?
Well, tonight, for example, they were playing ball there. The little kids, it's home ball. It's
T-ball.
grasshopper,
Right.
T-ball. Number one, number two, the Legion still has bingo, and I know the parking, they're good about it. They're off the road, but there's a lot of congestion there on a Thursday night, I think. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea, but should we do it so soon?
Okay.
Or should we wait
No,
to
that's why
see?
I'm bringing it to the board.
I think we should get, if we're gonna do anything, I think we should get official notification from the school saying that school is being closed, period. I mean, we all know it's closed,
Right.
but I think the school
Some
board
documentation.
should send us a letter saying that the school is closed and go from there.
I agree with you, I think, and I agree with
Some
the
documentation.
Because I think there are things, especially during the summer with, you have children, until they say that there's nobody that can be on that property. You have people that play tennis. You have a lot of young children that go up through and use the playground and did that school so graciously put together. And ball, I think we need to leave it where it is right now. Anything else, Superintendent Sullivan?
Yeah. The sign as it says now is 20 miles an hour during school hours, and it gives specified hours. If you want to make that a 20-mile-an-hour zone, you should so specify that for whatever hours you
But
want.
it's not a school zone, it's a
That's correct.
children
During
playing.
school hours, it's written, it's into your law book, so you have to change
Right.
your law book.
Yeah.
So that has to be done
Could
properly.
we be copy on that law, that specific area, so we can review it?
Yeah, because I think there are things that, we are into the summer, and I think, since the school has been closed, into what capacity that school is going to be used, deemed by the school board or the school, there's a word I'd like to say, but I'm going to be politically correct and not say it. We need to find out what's going to happen. So I think that's where we need to be, but you're right, we need to get some literature on that. Thank you. Would there be anything else?
That's it.
Trustee Porter?
I don't have a lot. Just want to make a note, the Ford tractor that we spoke about last board meeting, been delivered. Touched base with the employees using it. They seem to be all very satisfied. It's doing the appropriate job, and come to find out, and then some. With the quick disconnect attachment we put on the loader, the feedback I'm getting from the operators of the equipment is that it's actually working out better than what we had predicted. The timely manner it takes to accommodate the job of mowing, based on one employee that's saying it usually took 3 to 4 days, you can do it in just under 2. Same job, and it actually says it's a better quality job. So I guess that's another bonus for us, again, as far as conserving man hours and being more productive. And again, like we had talked about, this piece of equipment will be used this winter as well. We want to park it. So the other deal is we had another loss of a home, Mr. Ashline up the street here. I spoke with Mr. Ashline and Mrs. Ashline, and I did let him know on behalf of the village, if there was something we could do, please notify us, and we'd see if there's anything we could do. Speaking with Bob, he said he had stopped by, spoke with him, and pretty much same thing. In the event of the fire, I guess it was multiple fire departments here, And what I'd like to do is make a recommendation that we can send a letter to, let me back up here. I'm trying to be over polite and I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to get to the point without offending anybody. What happened is, at the end of the fire, the hydrant was turned off, not by procedure. Apparently, there's a procedure for shutting hydrants off. I was not aware of this. I've been slowly being educated by asking and so on and so forth. Apparently, there's certain members of the fire department that are aware of the procedure and there's some that aren't. What I would like to do is recommend to put a cost analysis together of what it costs this village due to the event that happened. Using it as an example, we're not looking to send a bill, I don't think that would be fair. But make a letter stating that this is what happened on this occasion, inflicted overtime, repair, backhoe use, whatever. Let it be known to the fire department that this is a normal procedure for shutting it off. Please advise your people, so on and so forth, so we can eliminate this overhead that this village is having a hard time to absorb. So everybody's on the same page, and I think by getting it on writing, not that it's a normal problem, it's something that happened and so be it, it's okay, but what we don't want is a vindictive situation where they could just go ahead and do this anytime they pleased and put us in harm's way as far as absorbing the cost. So I think if we document it and get something to them, it would kind of...
Can I make one further comment?
Absolutely.
Also, when you do this, when you break a main like this, you stand the chance of perhaps having a fire at the other end of this main. And now you can't get the proper amount of water to that.
You don't have fire protection.
You don't have
on
the
other end
fire
of the street.
protection there.
Matter of fact.
That really is an issue, you know.
I guess I'm not aware of the problem with not properly shutting down the hydrant.
Slam it.
What it is the water's flowing through a pipe at a high rate.
Right.
And when you close this valve off to shut this water off, the water's passing through. If you close the gate, the water hits it, and it throws pressure backwards in the line. So if you have an 8-inch, and then right around the corner drops to a 6-inch, the pressure on the 8-inch is obviously more cushion. When you choke it down to a 6-inch, instead of 100 pounds of thrust, you have I'm just using numbers, you have 200 pounds of thrust, striking the line like you took a sledgehammer to it.
Water hammer.
It's a water hammer is what it's called, exactly. So what happens is the stress on the pipe isn't designed for that, so it ruptures. And that's what happened on South Street. It was exactly very close, at 8 to a 6. Is that what the
Yes.
numbers were?
Yeah.
There's an 8-inch main that runs right down South Street, and partway down the street chokes down to a 6. The hydrant's right on the corner. So it's come to find out, and I'm very new to this, but I've been doing a lot of inquiries, not only with Bob, but other municipalities. Very common. If you don't shut a hydrant off properly, it'll happen if you have new mains. It's not the age of the main, it's not whatever. So I guess, like I said, no discredit to our fire department. We're very proud to have them. We have very honorable people there. Yep, go
It
ahead.
doesn't necessarily have to be our, the
Champlain Fire
Champlain
Department.
Fire
Yes,
District,
I
it could be somebody else's.
Yeah, I think the letter should go from the village, noted to Champlain, to be fair. Morris, Shazy, Rouse's Point, be abreast of this is what happens. We would like to see that procedure in our village. You're more than welcome here anytime. There's no, I mean, if anything, I'm very prone to whatever we can do to a fire department.
Right.
But
I think
it's-
they just need to know
The procedure.
that there's a procedure and that any department that responds and whoever it does has to be responsible
Well,
for that
that's the
procedure.
procedures we standard anyway, not just
Right.
here.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
And
exactly.
I'm sure there are people that are aware of it,
Some people, some members are and some aren't, I
and
think is,
maybe it's just not proper training to some new people that are in the department, which,
And see, there are some communities that don't have a water system
true.
that come to mutual aid.
sure.
Okay. I think a letter to that effect, I think a letter just to even Champlain stating, would you, please inform any of your responding units and what have you.
And would it
If
be-
they're not sure, would you like to come down and set up a training on how to open and shut a hydrant
Exactly, yep.
and get people abreast of it?
We'd be
Because
more
it
than
is
happy to
equipped.
provide that service if the breakdown of whatever we put on paper doesn't justify it. We can have a training session.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
well, the fire department has a training session.
No, what I'm saying
If
is,
you wanna be there, is that what you mean?
if they need better
Wherever they are,
instruction,
yeah.
they're welcome to come here. We will take our time and show them,
Now-
closing, the speed, whatever they need to know. I think it'd be worth it on our part.
But see what happens
get
when
this
you go,
documented.
when you go shut down the hydrant, you shut it down slow.
Yeah.
You don't shut it down, because you create a water hammer. What you're doing is, you're taking all of that residual pressure and you're just taking it, you're gonna slam it right down. And initially, when you open a hydrant, if you open it 8 turns, you're supposed to shut it 8 turns. You're actually
Was this
supposed
a
to
steamer
count.
line?
Pardon?
Was this a steamer line?
I don't know which one they were using. I was not there at the time
Right.
that this happened.
But there's a certain way that you're supposed to do this, and I think just letting a letter to our appropriate department stating that fact and letting them correspond with their initial departments, I think would be our best avenue.
Instead of sending it to the other
Yeah.
person.
Instead
I
of
think-
sending,
I think let them
Let-
take it from there.
let our fire district take it from there.
Sure. If
Let
there's a,
them-
I'm not real familiar with a procedure in a fire department, and I guess Albert, you'd probably be the man right here, spending so much time with them in the past. If there's a fire in the village, see, now this is mixed up too. If there's a fire within the village limits, it not necessarily always be Champlain responding. If they're out, someone else would.
Right.
Normally, Champlain would respond. Are they in charge? I guess, could it happen that Shazy could end up in charge, or Ross's Point, or Morris?
Right, if we were out
Could
with,
they?
yes, if we were out at another fire, all of our equipment was in, with a mutual aid system, we would call in a mutual aid department. And mutual aid department would be standing by in our department, okay? And if we had another call, if we had a structure fire, that initial department, which was at the station, would actually come on and be in command. They could relinquish command when Champlain arrived on scene.
Came back.
Right.
Okay.
But initially, the first truck on scene is command until it's turned over.
So if that's procedure, would it not be a bad idea to send one to all the local departments?
You could ask, I would ask the local chief,
I would
our own
ask the
chief,
local
to
chief
share
to
this
send-
information.
Share the information, good.
share the
All right.
information. I think that
And-
that would be the best.
Be
That would be
better
our
as,
best.
as chain of command for them. to
Right,
do it.
right. Let our fire chief do
I'm
this.
just looking to curtail some unneeded overhead if we can, and get it on paper.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
Um,
Manny.
Also, I know, I told you it'd be quick and it will. I only got a couple more. The hydro, project, I haven't moved forward on. There's some other issues, that we're aware of with the, Rolla Parker and Champlain National Bank issues, that I've been working on. And I came to a hurdle, not necessarily a hurdle, I guess it's a time, fashion, and amount of knowledge that I have in this procedure. We're trying to get, just to bring everybody abreast and the viewers out here, what's going on. We are not in compliance in a certain area providing wastewater from these 2 locations. We had a contract very similar to what was brought up earlier this evening in this meeting with Transborder. What's happening is once those 2 connected to the sewer main, it's now turned into a main instead of a single service, so on and so forth. Doing a little bit of investigations and whatever, I've gotten to a point where it's getting very complex, legality and the whole thing. What the offer was I made to them is you have 2 options. Get a hold of the town of Champlain and have them complete their water sewer district to bring it into compliance, or annex into the village. By speaking with them, Rolla Parker sent us a letter. We spoke about this. I think that was a meeting you weren't here. So he sent us a letter. Lisa's looking into it, and I guess now the town says that they are finishing it, and that's fine. We have no problem with that. It's not a case of they have to annex or they don't have. Whatever it takes to comply. So what I'm suggesting is What we need to do is get someone in this field or in this area of expertise to handle this legally before we get too far into this and end up costing more than it would to get the proper person to handle it. And while we're addressing that, also address, matter of fact, I wasn't aware we had this letter, but this letter hits it right on the nail, it's the nail right on the head, where the town asked for a request of all these locations outside of the village that we're providing water and sewer to. And that's fine. So getting the right person in here, we can address all these issues, bring everything back into compliance. I'm not sure what normal procedure here is, not being a trustee long enough to, is this something we need to make a motion on, take a vote on? Or is this something, any input? I'm open for suggestions.
I think you got to take one thing at a time, I think. The first issue of that so-called district that's being created, that was a district 5 years ago that was supposed to happen.
That's my point. That's why.
And it never happened. I think what we need to do is somehow say, this has to be done within a certain period of time. We've had this discussion. If not, then you can revert to something else, whether it's annexation or whatever. But we have to protect ourselves. We have to be compliant with state law.
Do we need to, I guess, I want to be as fair as I can with the town of Champlain because they are our neighbor. We do work with them. They're all good people there. Should we set up a meeting with them and say, hey, let's sit down at the table here and you tell us where you're at because we need to comply. We've carried them for 4 to 5 years. You know, if anybody gets a slap on the hand, we get it, not the town. And that's okay. I mean, but I think we've carried it long enough. So do we need to sit down with the town and say, listen, this is the deal?
I don't think it'll hurt.
Maybe not, but I think we have to show some
and if they
intent or
want,
effort.
and I know they want all the outside users. This has been supplied to them before. But obviously,
And you know what? If they want all the outside users, they can have them, but do it legally. We don't need to be carrying the liability that we're carrying.
Yeah.
We're carrying a liability here. We're wrong, we know we're wrong, we need to address it. It's been 5 years
well, this one situation.
with this one situation. Let's not let it get any worse. And what I'm getting at is, before there's a lot of miscommunication between the village and the town, I don't want that. I want to stay completely open with them. We're not trying to pull any punches. Should we do that? I'm asking.
Well,
I don't know.
I think what happens is right now, we are at a point where we are not sure what we can do or what our rights are.
This is what I'm finding out. It's very complex. The laws are-
I think that probably we need to hire an individual that would give us a helping hand and guide us through this
decision-making process.
decision-making process. My thing is, not knowing is not an excuse. If we don't know, we need to find out. My recommendation is we look into trying to get an attorney that's versed in this area
Water, sewer situations.
and actually get this individual on board and find out what our rights are and where we can go with them. I'm not that I don't, it's not that I'm not trusting, but I think not knowing leaves that gray area, and I think we need to know. So my recommendation is that we look into finding an individual who will help us through this districting and SO annexation.
I just have a concern with us spending money for taking care of outside districts.
Well, it's been 4 or 5 years we've been sitting here in the dark. And if we,
Well, I don't think
how
it's
much
in the
money
dark.
would
I
it
think
cost us?
it's just been promised and never happened.
Right.
It's not that we were in the dark.
So we need to address this, but I'm not looking to put anything in harm's way for the town of Champlain. If it lands that way, then so be it, but we need to have the right answer and the right move made at the right time. And like Albert was saying, by getting somebody who's abreast of this and knowledgeable, I'm not saying we couldn't find out. We're all educated people here, and I'm sure we can. I've tried it, I've taken it this far, and it's starting to not fall apart. I mean, there's a lot of scuttlebutt going on.
Have you
And I don't want
inquired with
this.
Nikon at all about this?
I've investigated, and I really hate saying it, the stuff I've investigated I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because you get an answer, and you say, okay, this is the way it is. So you go to step 2, and that first answer you got doesn't mean anything, because there's something else that goes with it. And that's fine, I'm sure all these laws are there for a reason. They're not doing it to make it complicated. We need somebody who does this,
Who
or
can
they're
interpret
aware
it
of this.
correctly.
At what cost?
That's what
That's my concern.
I guess at this point, what we need to do is find somebody who does this and find out what the cost is. Kinda in a way, and I'm not saying cost is not an issue, obviously it is. What could this have cost us for the last 5 years? We are taking a chance. It's black and
And I
white.
think
That part is not misunderstood. We are not in compliance. We are violating the law.
And
So be it.
if we know this, then we can put this in our procedure. This is the way it has
It
to
would be
be.
compliant if what happened years ago would happen.
What was said was going to happen, had it been done by the town, yes, you're correct. No rudeness intended to the town, by the way.
But I
This
think
is
that-
something that needs to be done. They said they were gonna do something, they haven't. We need to do something. We've given them 5 years. And it's not a challenge to the town, it's not, if you want it, make your water sewer district, that's fine. If you don't, it needs to be annexed. These are the only 2 options we have that are clearly understood, and there's no other alternatives. What do we do?
I think it's the town's move, that they need to do something.
They've been 5 years moving. This is my point.
Like I
You
said,
see what I
we
mean?
need to give them a time limit to do it.
That's was my question. Do we need to have a meeting with them? Sit down here, the people in charge, let's sit down and find out. What are you going to do? Tell us, let's put it in writing, hold up to your word. Because we did this 5 years ago and it hasn't come to. So let's get it documented. Let's hire somebody to document it. Let's do something, because another 5 years are gonna go by, we're not gonna be in compliance, and we're gonna get, sooner or later, it's inevitable, we're not complying with the law. How long can you speed down 87 before you get caught? It's gonna happen. You know, I'm not saying it's gonna be done today, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying, we can put this off forever. We can put it off for another 5 years.
I didn't say
Take the
put it
chance.
off. I'm saying is
You
the
know?
town's the one that has to take the initiative to do something.
Really? They've had that initiative for 5 years. I guess I don't understand what you're
They
saying.
dropped the ball, period.
Yep.
I
So
mean,
what do we need to do to make them pick up the ball, or they have to pick it up by
like I
themselves and we
said,
wait for it?
They have a certain specific time limit that should be done, you know. I don't know if we have to hire another attorney to do something maybe our own attorney could do.
Well, let's sit down at the table with them. Can we do that? Would that be better than, I'm not
I don't have a problem
objected
with
to
that.
that.
I don't have a problem with that.
If we don't have someone legal involved, then I think we should be big enough people to sit down with them and say, hey, this is the deal, this is what we know, this is what you're supposed to do, why hasn't it been done, what are we gonna do? Let's be fair. I'm not looking to put anything on anybody, let's just be fair. Now, we tried to be fair for 5 years, what's your rebuttal? We're all ears. And then come up with some sort of agreement. If we can't, then we'll say, geez, we don't have the legal ramifications to understand this, then we go and we hire somebody to handle it. I mean, if we just wait for them to make a move, we'll go another 5 years.
So the suggestion is that we have a joint water sewer committee meeting to town,
I think that would be,
you know, find out where they are.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're not communists, they live here in this town, this village, we should be able to talk to them, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's not something scary.
Oh, and we have a letter saying that they are working on it.
They asked us, we wanna know all these people that you're not complying with so they can do something about it, apparently.
Well, it's-
Perfect,
It's not all people, but all water and sewer users
outside of the village. Right,
And like I said, they've had those in the past, and that
Sure.
information's been supplied to them.
right. But they're asking for it because apparently they're moving forward with something.
Maybe
Great,
they have a master plan, maybe they should sit down and discuss it with us. what their reasoning for that letter is of why they want that information. Come to us and say, we want this information because,
Sure. When we sit down at the table, what do you want that information for? Throw your cards on the table, buddy. We're not playing games anymore. We've been 5 years. Let's do what's right.
Why don't we see if we can get a joint meeting with the town water and sewer committee? Find out where they're going, what their anticipated, plans are, and, we can probably better understand it from there. And if we don't understand it, well, we'll see from there on. But I think we could sit here all night and talk about 5 years, and after a while, we'll be 5 years older, okay? I mean, it's immaterial. You know, we understand that. I think the issue needs to be moved on now, and I think we actually need to set up a meeting. Mrs. Dawson, would you be able to get hold of the town and find out when we can set up a meeting with the,
Monday, that's the meeting for them?
whenever, you know? I think it's a good idea. I think we need to find out where they're going. They must have plans, and I would like to see their plans. Okay? Would that be good enough, Ray?
Excellent, sounds fine to me.
Okay, Chuck? Would there be anything else, Randy?
That's it for my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 2 more trees.
Sorry. Start at Pinnacle.
That is a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Report of clerk treasurer.
We've just done a water sewer billing for July 1st, for the months of April, May, and June. The water billing was in the amount of $41,306.40. And the sewer billing was in the amount of $73,520.
how's that fall within what we
Just about right. Right on.
Just about right on our anticipated quarter.
I copied each of you with a month-end report and actually what I copied was the June 1st report and a June 30th report. In there, I've given you all the closeout balances on the June 1st report. And then the June 30th report would be revenues and expenditures for the June. Copy you. If you have any questions, give me a call or whatever.
I'm happy to see the general fund, everybody's fund balance, the water fund balance is in pretty good shape. Sewer, different story.
It is a memo. Bob and I have been talking about the sewer account.
We had discussion, you mentioned to me also.
Right. Now, with that project we had on the downtown, we did a lot of work that was sewer related that stated the project and the sewer, you know, general. The last check we received was the end of May, which was $40,000. A lot of that money probably should have gone to the general fund. At this point, since our account is so bad shape, that maybe we should transfer a little of that. We can't claim Bob's paper. So if you have a copy of each of you, if that's. Oh, here it is. Bob mentioned in his report that the loading ramp is put on, and then the board asked to have some street shoulders entering there. And that's money that rightfully should come back to the sewer and a lot of that.
But what type of money are you looking at for that?
I don't know, Bob,
There's no dollar amount, so I.
Right, I didn't go through all the accounts to try to figure out what I put where. It's probably considerable. I think Mrs. Dawson had a figure in her mind of the last check we received from single
No,
payment.
I thought we could, because we had just received the $40,000, and that would certainly be the check. That went into last year's budget, last year's general fund balance. So it would be proper to transfer like sewer
The whole
fund.
thing?
whatever, no, and that was 40,000 that was received.
Right, I
I'm not
don't
sure
think you
what-
want all 40,000
What
going.
figure we should send over.
Okay, but, that, I can see that. Could we get any kind of information for our next board meeting so we can make that decision on what we would like to transfer?
Can you do a breakdown
our
of
water?
that, or we can-
Right, have to
Sure,
get
yeah.
all the, I have to get all the old bills and stuff.
No, just a random number. It's hard for us to make a decision on the
Right.
transfer of funds without actually knowing what we're gonna transfer.
Right.
I mean, I pretty much wanna know what I,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, we need to justify it.
It has to be justified,
Okay,
right?
so if you would do that,
Okay.
and put that to the board for their next meeting, and we'll address that issue at that time,
Okay.
okay?
And that's all I have.
No, I just got one question. Okay, we purchased that tractor, which the money we were taking out of the fund balance, so that hasn't been taken, that hasn't been,
Out of that figure, no. Or the 5,000.
Or the 5,000, right.
Hydro.
Right.
so we just got to take in that consideration. So we
Right.
get 20,000, that's,
Right.
About 21,000.
16 and 5.
Yeah. 21,000. Any other questions? Awesome.
I'm good. I'm out of turn, I know, but whatever was the deal with the dog catcher issue?
Never sent a report, he sent me a date here and he sent it.
Because we were supposed to get that with the bills, correct? Because he sends them every quarter?
Yeah, we just sent him a check every quarter.
So
But,
can
well,
I
we
make
sent
a,
it to town, actually.
can I make, or how does it work? Can we not send a check until we get an itemized bill, whatever this guy's doing? I mean, we just send him a check every quarter, and remember we had asked?
yes.
We had asked him, I want to see what he's doing, how many dogs you catch this month, you know?
They
Well,
used to send
it
us a
shouldn't be a
report.
problem.
He used to send us a report.
I think a letter could be stated to that fact,
Didn't we do
probably
one?
from this time on, unless we get a correspondence stating, you know, what has actually been done.
I don't want to give the guy a
maybe-
hard time, but I mean,
You know.
$3,000 a
we-
year or $4,000, whatever it was.
We need to know this.
Okay,
Progress
You know.
report.
We need to
Progress
know the report.
yeah, Some type of,
okay. Now, I had talked to him, and he said when he did his year end, he's probably yesterday.
Well, I
so
think,
can we not send any more checks until we get some kind of report or something? Is that
well, I
fair?
think,
What's the year end, what's his year end? Does it run?
Only the
June?
first
Well, we
year.
would send him one at the end of August.
well, I think the correspondence come out and say, you know, we really need to have a report. If not receiving the report, this may jeopardize the payment of August, the end of August.
We'd like to have a quarterly report.
Yeah, if he bills quarterly, we should get a quarterly report.
Right.
Does he
So-
actually bill us?
No, it
No.
was the town board.
So he doesn't even bill us, we just send it to Town of Morris.
We have, yeah, we send it to auction.
They do.
Can we call Morris and send us a check every quarter or so, without any bills or anything? Gee, that'd be great.
See, I think if we're paying for the service, I think we need to know what we're paying for.
Okay,
And it's as easy as that, and I agree with you. Thank you, Jan.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I was out of my turn. here.
Report of superintendent.
You have my written report?
At this time, myself and the correspondence, congratulations, you have completed the basic code enforcement training program. I would like to take this time to congratulate Mr. Sullivan on his accomplishments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your thanks.
No, his face is on the.
Yeah, you can. It's one of the first times that they've had any type of an examination on this. So you do have to, you do pass it. You actually pass the test. Well, you don't know it,
With
you
anything
shouldn't
else
pass.
that you get a certification for, you know, New York State, you know, they do have tests for everything pretty much.
Well, you'd be surprised. What doesn't?
Either they have a certification, and you
Yeah.
have to pay a fee and all that, that's why they
Another
get,
fee.
yes.
Just another thing.
I see on your crew activities, put the Cherry Street sign up again, this is about the third time.
Yeah, I'm getting a little sick.
Why?
What's happening?
I think somebody keeps hitting it, but I don't know that. I can't catch them.
Is it truck traffic, does it look like, or just
Yeah, I
kids
think so. No, I think it's truck traffic.
making a turn or whatever?
Well, Cherry Street's on the back of.
On the backside.
Yeah.
Right,
Backside Kinsman.
right.
Is there a way we could transport one of those cement,
Landmines.
cement abutments that we use
Yeah.
and put around the corner temporarily? I mean, to correct the turning operation?
Correct the
whoever's doing
turning
this?
operation.
Because
you know-
I could.
No, I mean, will our loader handle that? Can we pick one up, carry it over, set it down?
I can put it in the truck and get it.
You think that, I mean, do you have any suggestions on it?
About as good as any.
You'll certainly know they hit something.
Well, because I'm getting to the point is, I mean, and you say for the third time, I'm saying, I think it's a problem here.
We also have the same problem on the corner of East Street. We have the same corner on Finley Drive. We have the same thing.
So in other words,
Finley
it's a
Drive
lot,
should-
it's a lot
Oh,
of big
they,
traffic.
oh, yes, they
They back
do.
down that?
Oh,
This
this
is
is
the trucks
pretty,
from the Kimpex building.
yeah, this
pulling
is
ahead
pretty
and
sad
swinging.
drivers.
That I
pretty
can
sad.
understand, but Cherry Street,
I
Or-
think they just cut it. They cut the radius.
Could we send a letter to Mr. Morgan stating that all of the users of the buildings get hold of all their freight haulers and ask them to use a little more care?
they always got different drivers.
Yeah, you know, and they
I see it
never,
from my place and there's a mess. I mean, there's one guy blocked the road for half an hour, didn't know how to back up. I know he's not a regular, you know.
well, we got a CDL, but,
Okay,
you know.
we won't go nowhere with that way.
Well, yeah.
But for Cherry Street, I mean, I can see East maybe and Finley because I can understand that, but Cherry, there's no excuse for that. I
Oh,
mean,
no, that's what I'm saying, that's
set a
way up in the
cement
back.
abutment there. Let's set a cement abutment there and then try to help correct them, their backing issues, and they'll learn a little better.
They'll,
You know?
after a while, they'll, if anything, we'll get color.
Right,
Okay.
see color in the concrete and it'll be less damage.
Right. Okay.
The other thing, we were talking, the wastewater plant, we have one licensed operator down there.
That's correct.
Do we have anyone else licensed with that? Just,
No, we had somebody earmarked for it supposedly, but nothing has happened.
We set money aside in last year's budget and this year's budget, and no schooling has taken place yet.
I applied for these schools and was told wait till next year
By who?
by the board, this board, at a board meeting when I had it in my, I had it right in my work report, exactly what it cost, exactly what the dates were, everything, and I was put off,
Not for the wastewater plant.
yes,
Maybe other schools, but not wastewater.
for the wastewater.
I don't remember that.
do you know if there's another one coming up now?
It should be, I believe it's in August, but I'm not sure. No, I'll,
Is there a series of events or is it just one class, one license?
oh, no, it's a series of them, oh, yeah.
Do we have anyone that started these ranks?
No,
Like I said, that was something that was supposed to start at least a year or more ago.
I put that, and I'll tell you the exact date before I'm done. I will tell you the exact date.
Okay, well,
You actually got the whole thing.
I think what we need to do is to find out when the next one is gonna start. And I think we need to take an individual and put an individual there,
Right.
one that has been training.
The only way I can think that maybe they said wait, is if it was so far away that it'd be super expensive compared to closer by.
Are they all in the
It's
same?
always in the same place,
Where is it?
Alex Bay. It'll never be any place
It's not
else.
that far away. No,
That's far enough.
Far enough, but it's not like.
always-
If that's
it's
the only
always
place you
in
got
Alex
it,
Bay.
Buffalo.
if it's the only place you got it, I guess time is not an issue. That's where you go. So maybe we should, I don't know, just make a decision, a motion, vote, whatever you're gonna do, get somebody
Going.
started here.
Right. And I think the appropriate one is the one that's been training.
Mhm.
He has the most,
Experience in
Experience
that
with it.
area.
and I think he needs to go. And I
The
think
only
he
one that
needs to,
wanted to do it anyway.
he's the only one that wanted to do it, so I think at this time, we need to find out when our next class is and I think we need to address them and say, hey, we would like you to go to this class, and this class is gonna be on such and such, and we expect you to be there.
What's involved with that, Bob? Is it a 1 day, 2 day, 8 hours?
Oh, it's a week. I think the first one's 2 weeks, and then there's a 1 week.
2
2 weeks.
2 week?
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna take an employee and send him to Alexandria Bay for 2 weeks. That's required by, this is what we have to
Yeah,
do?
yeah.
What do, I mean, obviously, you don't travel
But
every day.
it costs about $1,500 to $2,000 to get.
Is there room and stuff accounted for with the class of the school?
No.
So we room and board an employee? Do they use their vacation time?
No.
I'm just kidding. Whoa, yeah, we need to
It's
do something.
expensive.
Either way, it's gotta be done.
Right. We
We've
need
only
to
got
do
one person in
And we need to do it.
education.
So, education, right.
Yeah, it is.
And I would like,
And they do take a test at the end of that, correct?
You take several tests.
Well, I mean, at levels, you know,
Yeah,
and they have to be past one to go on to the next level.
to the next one, right.
Not if they're back on a Wednesday instead of Friday.
No.
right.
Well, we should see to that. If you didn't pass it,
No,
you should
they-
go home. Okay.
No, it's after only 2 weeks.
That Mike?
And I would like to bring an issue up to, I have noticed on the cruise activities, I would like to speak to address the general public. Watered flowers, not too many people taking care of them. It's very nice that we do this as a village to try and make the village look very presentable. I would think if a box was in front of your land, that it would probably not hurt for you to go out and water it, because we are busy as a municipality. And I think I'm asking the people out there, wherever they are, to take pride in keeping their flower boxes weeded and watered, if you could at all, please. Because probably eventually, if this is not done, this will probably end up not happening anymore. We have enough things to do, and I'm only pleading with the people that have them to try and take the better care of them. Thank you.
Well, Bob, I noticed this is work in progress repairing water meters.
Mhm.
Did we get a scope on how many were not in compliance or not working or?
The lady does that.
Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 65 to 75. I had probably 7 to 8 on a page approximately, and it was like 11 pages of them.
60, 70 meters.
But there was
Need to be
questions on
repaired.
some, yeah, I mean,
Well,
some,
some of them needed repair, some don't.
Some need replacing,
And
some
most,
repair, whatever.
most have been, so far, what the report's coming in as, is broken wires. Broken wires. Either they're cut, pull them off the house to put on siding, break them, broken sometimes in the house, putting porches on, it's happened more than once.
Right, so only like a 22 gauge or a 24
It's
gauge
very-
wire. It's
Oh,
very
right,
small
the
wire.
mechanical one, that's not, I guess the issue is there's 60 to 70 meters not working.
Yeah.
I guess that's the, how they get broke and why they're broke is immaterial. It was a routine thing because of a weak link that we're doing, then fine, but I mean, the rest of the village uses the same meter, the same wire, the same everything. So maybe, and I see we're working on it, so
Yeah,
maybe just
Well,
give them a little more
that's work in progress.
squeeze.
That's something that's always ongoing. It's not just.
Yeah, well, it's just that was seemed to be a,
Is this a
I'm
normal
going
thing to
again.
have 60 or 70 of them not working?
we had it down quite a bit for a while, and then it just kind of galloped up on us.
But I mean, normally, it's not probably uncommon to have 3, 4, maybe 5 in this
So
village
you could probably have 10 or 15 without any.
per month or per billing cycle,
Yeah,
every 3
yeah.
months.
I've seen
10
it
to
higher than what
15.
it is now.
I have to.
Yeah.
Where's the weak spot? We need,
Where is the weak spot? Well, one of the weak spots is the old Pulsar meter head. Is a weak spot. Plus the
I
wire
guess-
is a weak spot.
Let me, what is the weak link or the weak, I mean, I know we had water main breaks, and I'm not pointing fingers here, don't get me wrong, can we take
Address
this
it more
issue and
directly?
address it and squeeze it a little more? 60 to 70
Well,
estimated issues here.
We do a lot of them, well, doing it quarterly, having a quarterly reading is a quality in itself, because it takes so long
It takes 3
Before
months to
you-
find out
to,
what's
before
not
you
working.
even know, right.
How long are these 60 or 70 now? Is this something through the
Probably
winter
a
that?
couple of years. Been happening over a couple of years. We did catch up to some of them last year, but then it got ahead of us again.
That's something we can kind of like, put a task force on, say, okay, priority is this, if you have time, then do something else.
Well,
You know how
yeah,
the operations are.
that's
right?
exactly what I'm doing now, except we
Okay.
have a project to do, we'll finish the project. Then we'll wait a while and do the next project, and try to catch water
There's
meters in
certain people
between.
that do that as compared to others, isn't there?
That is correct.
Not everybody works on water meters. They're
Okay.
not familiar enough to do
Right.
it.
And you
But I
can
guess
end up
my-
in a real mess.
And maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. I mean, 60 to 70 is not normal. Is that, we all
Shouldn't
agree
be.
to that?
No, yeah.
10, 15 a month, or every quarter, every 3 months, it could be.
Yeah.
So you have the next 3 months to correct those before you find out, due to siding installations or ice or whatever.
But
So I think we should get that number a little closer. I
if
mean,
they're damaged because of the owner's
Your responsibility.
fault, I mean, they should be held responsible.
absolutely, that's nothing, let's get there and fix them and then determine whose fault it is. We can bill them or make a note of it or whatever. That's not,
Or if
I have a
Something.
book here that we're supposed to be entering them in, and we have them all, when it seems to keep occurring, but
that's normal procedure, right? I mean, if we go there and fix a meter, we find somebody took a hammer to it, normal procedure.
well, if I
bill
find a
for it,
hammer to
right?
it, yeah, that's.
No, but you see what I mean, if you find, you know, a tree limb fell and it's act of God, I mean, there's procedure for this, that end of it, right?
Yeah.
What I'm focused on is let's do the 60 or 70 meters. Whatever caused it, we have procedure already in place for that. Doesn't matter if the kid hooked it or if the tree hit it. Whatever our normal policy is, handle
Well,
it.
we haven't been charging anybody for these
Right. And I'm not saying let's go out and give everybody a bill, but let's at least get back on
contracts.
track.
Yeah, they gotta be fixed.
I mean,
Because it could be costing us money.
Well, most likely,
I
yeah.
mean, because, I mean, if you,
See, what usually happens is, you have such a limited crew, and I know what Bob says, you can't put one individual in 3 different spots.
right?
So, his priority is, if he has a priority which he feels needs to be done, well, that needs to be done.
Squeaky wheel.
Yeah, so I think, yes, I think we need to make more of an effort that some that may not be as critical as these meters, I think we need to spend a little more time on them. I think in your work report or your work, what you assign to crew, I think you need to fix some times, maybe, you know, I know we're doing big projects, but in between big projects, that should be a must.
Well, I mean, obviously, we have a crew and you've got vacation times and these other issues, but that person who is designated for water meters, does he have to be, I mean, he's in charge of that, and that's his head area, does he have to be in charge of sweeping the street, mowing the lawn, and everything
No.
else? Can he stay focused on that and let somebody else take responsibility for
Somebody
their
else.
area? You know what I mean?
Well, that's generally what I try to do, try to split it up to some extent.
Okay.
To some,
Right.
doesn't
So
always work.
that will probably be a little more on your work agenda
Mm-hmm.
to try and get this within reasonable,
Reasonable limits.
right, if you would, please. Thank you. Any other questions for Superintendent Sullivan? If not, could we move on to correspondence, please?
Item 1 is correspondence on June 11th to June 17th from Attorney Keeble regarding the right-of-way, the Champlain right-of-way.
What has been done on that? Was there ever a survey done?
I got somebody who's supposed to work on it, but he hasn't come and
Yeah,
done the
so-
survey yet.
But I think
I
that's
think what he's doing is the research on it.
research
He's got
first.
several of them to
Do we
do.
have a cost of what this is gonna be? We just go ahead and do it? I mean, I know it probably needs to be done, but usually you have some type of a cost of what it's gonna be. I mean,
I didn't get a cost, I just asked him if
I'd like to see some kind of figure. I mean, we just can't go out and spend money. I mean, we gotta know how much we're spending, that's all.
he would. Okay.
Estimate. Some type of
An estimate, yeah.
Item 2 is correspondence to Terminal Estates regarding the Ames building. Operating system to find a new tenant, and I copied you each with the note that you
Right.
called, when the company called.
We're an interested company, waiting for litigation.
Which could be forever.
Yep. Well,
Item 3 is correspondence to the Westmoreland Company for the Development Corporation regarding their property in the industrial park. Item 4 is appropriation form to send to Clinton's office regarding the Pine Street Gully project. Item 5 is correspondence from Senator Bruno regarding school aid. Item 6 is request for sewer service from UPS Supply Chain Solutions, which has already been addressed. Item 7 is a notice for an all hazards analysis meeting at the town of Champlain, tomorrow, July 15th from 9 to 1, which has already been addressed.
Robert, are you gonna be at that?
Yes, I am. I also spoke to Bruce Barkle about being there.
Okay, good, thank you.
Somehow he got left off the list.
And he will,
He
being fire
should be,
chief,
yeah.
being fire chief of our district, I think he should be there.
He
Okay,
was
then,
left
thank
off
you.
the list.
Oops, it's gonna get,
Bruce Barkle is now our fire chief.
Yeah.
Fire- okay. Any correspondence?
I did tell them that I would contact him while in verbal conversation with friends of mine.
Item 8 is correspondence from the Development Corporation to the village code officers and planning board regarding main meeting in the Westmoreland FedEx building. 9 is correspondence from FEMA dated June 23rd in New York State Emergency Management Office regarding the Pine Street Gully project. Item 10 is correspondence from the Clinton County Planning Department regarding the hazard mitigation grant program. Rodney Brown.
Stating that was for all the western counties. Oswego, what have you, yeah.
Item 11 is New York State DOT notice of CHIPS funding. As I noted on there, we have budgeted 17.1 and they show a little bit 17.2. Bear in mind.
That was positive.
12 is notice of cost change for biosolids management from GSI Environmental.
So what has happened is we're going from 45 to 45.95.
95 cents a ton.
Well,
Well, not a ton, but
the
Yeah.
thing of it is,
Ton.
yeah, a ton. But what it was compared to what it was before, this is fine.
I just want to keep crawling and crawling and crawling.
Right.
I just got the bill today, so I really need to look at it.
Okay.
It's not easy, it's not easy.
Item 13 is a request for a culvert installation and a response. Sullivan to Jessica Charlin.
I see that you have actually corresponded with the individual.
Yeah, it seemed from the tenor of the letter that she didn't understand exactly what the procedures were and why
Right.
and what would be done, and I tried to lay it out as plainly as I could, what it was all about.
So if she does consider that, there will be actually a
Well,
cost.
I need your approval first.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. If we are to go ahead with this, I think Mr. Sullivan needs to price it out. He needs to price it out, give her the price of what it would cost to have that done, and if she wishes so, have him schedule it. Is that approval of the board? Thank you.
Schedule within reason. I mean,
Within
we
reason.
have other things that we have planned to do.
Right,
so-
yes.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not gonna drop everything.
Right.
Right, because usually these requests come in the spring, not summer.
Well, there was another gentleman who asked me about it, and I saw him on Saturday when I went to the VFW thing, and he still hasn't got one in yet. And it was another one that he wants to be done over on South Street. You gotta get the limit.
Yeah,
I
and
cannot-
like I said, this is something we try and plan in advance, not
Right.
react in a few weeks.
Right, right. And I've tried to get into a position where we have some kind of pipe on hand, not to have to order and not have to, I can get it at state bid price rather than trying to buy it in short lots, and then you can't do it at state bid price.
Mr. Dawson.
Item 14 is correspondence from the American Red Cross regarding the Badge of Honor summer campaign.
I've read this letter and to the general public, I'd like to speak on it. It's saying, you know, that they are looking to get more blood donors. If anybody out there has ever thought about donating blood, because blood is the life giver, they're looking to have more people give blood, because they're stating that a very few percentage of people donate blood. Myself, I would, but I can't. So if anybody's interested, they should get hold of their local blood bank and donate blood. And thank you very much.
Item 15 is the Newark Rural Water Association informing us that the source water protection specialist will be in our area in July.
Have you heard anything about when he's gonna be here, or will he just pop in?
No, I didn't get hold of it. I didn't have time to consider.
Because it actually says in this letter, if you need them here to try and set up an appointment with Josh Busser.
I just didn't. Did this get in there?
Item 16 is correspondence from Attorney Meredith Neverett to Attorney James Keeler regarding the town of Champlain sewer district number 5.
I don't see it.
We'll get through the rest also.
Yeah.
17 is an email from Kevin Cosgrove dated July 17th regarding the Champlain property. So, and 18 is a request for sewer credit from Margaret Fisher, and an explanation attached to that.
I read this and I was overwhelmed. I was at odds when I read this. Where can 125,000 gallons of water go?
On our floor and down the hill and back. Mr. Poirier and I can both testify to that.
Okay. Well, being the circumstances where hospitalization and everything, I think it's a one-shot deal, and I think it only right that we as village trustees grant this adjustment. I don't know about it.
The sewer part, yes, I agree.
We're all, I mean, yes, I mean, this is, I was awed when I read this, I just fell over. So, yes, everybody in agreement with that?
And by the way, she's no longer there, she's moved.
But
Yeah, no, I
for
just.
that reason, I mean, this to me would be way unacceptable. So that would be granted.
Okay, I have something that somehow didn't make the list. Probably get back to something else. Janelle Nephew and Vance Trudeau. They've purchased a piece of property on the corner of Broad Boulevard and Locust. Just, it's not in there, right?
It said within the next few months,
Mm-hmm,
we will be purchasing the land.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't our correspondence, that was something we, I think, received Friday.
Oh, all right.
See, I put a little note on the top, what about this? But I figured, I said, well, since it doesn't have a specific time, and apparently the land hasn't been purchased. So I think what they're asking is, if the land is purchased, will we provide water and sewer to that land? Being that that property is in the village, is it our right to, it's our right to bring water and sewer to that land. So I think, in essence of them purchasing this property, when this property is purchased, and it is in their name, and they request the water and sewer service, I believe that we
Okay, the
should.
reason why I'm a little itchy about this is that goes across Locust Street. The sewer line will have to go across Locust Street. Locust Street is a quasi-village county's road.
Is it within the village limits yet?
It's within the village limit.
It's within the
But-
village limits.
I'm gonna have to cut the road. But I don't, you can't run something on grade with a hole on it.
Right.
I don't hold much hope that I
Is that
can.
normally issues with the county? Is that some,
It-
who maintains it?
They put the last surface, road surface, the county.
Is that normal procedure?
Well, I'd like to not get along with them. I'd rather make sure that everything that I do is
That being a
on the
county
up-
road, even though it lies within the village limits, is that normal procedure for them to maintain it?
No,
They don't have to asphalt.
that's right.
So what you're asking is that
I wanna make sure.
we get with the,
Well, I'll do that part. I'll get with the county highway department. But I wanna make sure that this is what we're gonna do, and that we're gonna do it.
right,
I'll provide it right to the edge of pavement
right, and they take it from there.
from there.
Oh, yeah. You bring it to their end of payment and they take it from there. My concern is, again, check with them, because we will be cutting that road.
I don't understand taking it to edge of payment. I lost.
Edge
To
of
the
pavement.
other edge of pavement. It's,
Right.
Edge to
sewer's
edge.
across the road.
Okay.
Right.
Water is on this side.
They have no involvement. I mean, you're not bringing it to edge of payment, so they take over anything.
The county?
Yeah.
No,
No.
no, I'm cutting their road up though. It's,
Right.
and they were the last ones to pave it, did a wonderful job. It's really nice and all that.
Right.
But the property owner comes to, that's what you're talking about, the edge of pavement, that's where the property owner comes to that line.
See, we're gonna bring the service,
We need to
across-
bring it to their property.
we need to bring it to their property line. The landowner picks it up from the property line to bring
That's
this to
fine.
their.
The issue is cutting that road. This is.
The issue is cutting the road.
So, you know, I want him to have plenty of time to digest what's going on and all that, so.
But
I think Bob's got a point that before we just go cut the road, get him a line there, let's see something happen.
But we
Let's see a
can't do anything,
foundation, let's see,
but we can't do anything until they actually own the property.
I can tell him in theory that there's a house going there and this is what I'm going to do. And we can bat that around. I wanna make sure I'm not batting it
No,
around.
what I'm saying as far as physically doing anything.
No,
No, no,
Do anything.
no, we're not gonna do nothing.
but
I don't even think.
I don't wanna drop it on him in 10 minutes.
No,
Give them a
that's
chance
all
to
I'm saying.
digest it.
That's not saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Right. Just throw it on the table, say we might be doing
Just
this.
we
I'll
might
let
be
you
doing
know.
this.
Looks like we're gonna do this.
there's gonna be a home supposedly going up and we
Right.
need to go across this
Right.
road, and I'm letting
You
you,
may have a better
I'm sure the
solution.
guy's got
Right.
plenty of other things to worry about, but just make a phone call, done.
You know, maybe I can get something to push it across, I don't know. I can push it across the.
What distance are you looking at?
Huh?
From our sewer line to the edge of their property line?
40 feet maybe?
Yeah,
By north?
it's a little less.
The west? How deep do you have to go?
It's pretty deep there, if I remember right.
Not that one, that's the one that comes all the way up, goes,
The one by the milk plant's what, 14 feet or somewhere it goes in?
no, no.
12 feet, somebody was saying? No?
Not too bad.
I can't imagine if there would be that deep.
That's one that I was told forever that you couldn't put a sewer line up to Legnad's and to Jarvis's, but they had sewer.
Right.
Pretty close to the ground, yeah.
Okay, then, is that it, Robert, then? Okay,
Just wanted to make sure.
and that's, let's move on to old business. Our purchase policy. I think, I haven't really sat down with it, like I said, I excuse my,
It's probably something we can hold off.
my absence. I think we need to, everybody needs to actually look at the purchase policy, put some comments on it, and we need to have a meeting together to see what would be a better working purchase policy.
And I think one of the reasons why we want to, just so we wouldn't get lost.
So we wouldn't forget about it.
Right,
It's-
okay.
It's something that needs to be addressed
Right.
before.
Okay, right, but, and it needs to stay there, so it's a reminder.
Should we also, well, I guess we've addressed that, the training for the wastewater, but that's a done deal.
Right.
We won't forget that. at
We
this
won't
point.
forget that.
That's gonna be
No,
done.
that's gonna be done.
Okay. I
Superintendent,
have one other thing that I forgot about this, and it's the fact that one of the local residents marked up one of the streets and put a basketball hoops
Which street?
and markings,
Which street?
Chestnut.
Actually marked up, painted lines and stuff.
Painted lines on
With chalk or painted with?
Paint.
Paint.
cannot happen,
Pardon?
cannot happen.
No, well, it did. And we don't have anything that really addresses it. I just want to make sure that I.
But that's defacing property.
Yeah, I realize.
I mean, I don't actually think that we need anything in writing when I will not go to your house and write all over the side of your place. I mean, it's
Okay.
defacing.
I have no problems with doing something about
I
it. I
think-
just wanted to make sure I had.
Does that come under, it wouldn't come under codes, it'd come under policing, wouldn't it? It has to be
Right.
reported and have,
Vandalism.
Well, it could be them, but I think we need to just go to the individual and say, hey, this should not happen.
that's the best way.
You know, let's not take this and blow it all out of proportion,
I just want you to be aware.
okay?
So if I go jumping, what did you do that for?
Well, I can't wait, 'cause I'm gonna draw all over my street. Of course, you'll never find it because it's so rough, you couldn't see it anyways, but I won't go there.
That's probably the best way. You can fit that into your job description, going up and talking to them and say, geez, please don't do this.
Right,
You know,
okay, and number 2 on old business is superintendent hiring. Now, this again is something that we know that our superintendent is gonna be leaving us. I really don't know where I wanna go with this. But I think again, people ought to sit down, they ought to talk with Robert. We may want to put a meeting together where we can all sit down and pick at each other and actually find out what we want to do with this.
Could we ask Mr. Sullivan to list his duties as he sees that they are?
All done.
Okay.
Could we have that all issued to us for our next board meeting?
Have to add one.
And don't be wasting any trees. Now
Thank
what you
you.
do, how what you're supposed to do.
And apparently that's it for old business. Do we have any new business to come before the board? If not, I would like to call for an executive session. I need a motion for an executive
So moved.
session. Moved, trustee, motion made trustee Connor, second trustee Sharp, all in favor? Aye.
One of the things that I told Mrs. Kurtz today and would tell the board is that NICEAG is going to be putting electricity out through the industrial park in about 2 weeks. The Development Corporation pays for that. NICEAG doesn't do that as a treatment because it's all buried over there. And it'll be a price tag of $75,000.
The Development Corporation is.
Yeah, I'm just making you aware.
But we pay for the lighting, any lights in
It's
the
the Lake District.
Lake District.
Yes, it is.
Okay, is our camera on?
No.
Yeah.
Celine, thank you very much.
It's
Good
been-
night,
We're
folks.
glad to have you here.
Yeah, we're very glad to have you here.